I declare the council meeting on the 16th of December open at 5:33 and would like to advise that this meeting is being live streamed in accordance with the council meeting's live streaming, recording and electronic attendance policy. By being present at this meeting, members of the public consent to the city's live streaming and recording and subsequently publishing their voice on the city's website. Before we begin tonight, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the heartbreaking events at Bondi. Our thoughts are with everyone who has been impacted, the lives lost, those injured, their loved ones, and the first responders who stepped up with such courage. We're holding Bondi community close to our hearts and sending our care and support during this incredibly sad time. I personally am holding deep sadness and space for our Jewish community at this time. Tonight, I would like to share some words kindly prepared by George Wally. People have been here for a long time. I want to acknowledge the presence of people over that long time, with first the Binjarab Noongar people who continue to have an ongoing connection to this land. They have been here for over 50,000 years. This place, Mandurah or Mandurah, acknowledges a beautiful name full of intent of people living here and others visiting here. That intent gives us an idea of their ancestral land usage over that long period. Mandurah, the gathering place, is unique because even today we still gather here in the most beautiful place for many important reasons. Let us embrace the notion of people being in this space as we move forward together as one community. Do I have any apologies for tonight's council meeting? No apologies. Members of the public are advised that any decision made at the meeting tonight can be revoked in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995. Therefore, members of the public should not rely on any decision until formal notification in writing by council has been received. Answers to questions taken on notice. Can you please refer to the responses on the screen? Amendment to standing orders. Council is requested to resolve to suspend the operation of the following provisions of the City of Mandurah Standing Orders, Local Law 2016, for the duration of this meeting, to ensure that Councillor R. Rogers can follow and participate in the meeting as it progresses. Standing Order 7.2, members to occupy own seats while present in meeting room, relevant only for elected members attending the council chambers. Agree under Standing Orders 8.11 and 12.2 that instead of requiring a show of hands, a vote will be conducted by exemption, with presiding member calling for those members against the motion. If no response is received, the motion will be declared carried and minuted accordingly. The requirements per Standing Order 7.3 for members to advise the presiding member when leaving or entering the meeting at any time. Can I ask for a mover and a seconder? Councillor Schumacher, Councillor Wilkins as the seconder. Can I put that to the vote? Anyone against? I declare that carried. We will now move into public question time. Please ensure that your questions relate to the ordinary business of the city, the function of council, or the purpose of this meeting. Please note that this is an opportunity to ask questions only. No additional statements or arguments will be permitted. During public question time, members of the public are given the opportunity to ask a question of council. Council will allocate 15 minutes for public question time. Once this time has been exhausted, I may move a motion to extend a public question time for a further 15 minutes. The City is committed to ensuring fair and equitable access to public question time. In accordance with council policy, each member of the public who wishes to ask a question may ask up to 3 questions. Public question time must be conducted in accordance with the City of Mandurah Standing Orders. Questions must not reflect adversely on the integrity of the City of Mandurah, including an elected member, city officer or other party. When called forward to ask your questions, please begin by stating your name. The City will make every attempt to provide an answer Where this is not possible, your question may be taken on notice and a written response will be provided to you once the necessary research has been undertaken. This response will also be included in the next council meeting agenda. I now open public question time at 5:38 p.m. I would like to invite members of the public to ask questions. Are there any members of the public wishing to ask questions tonight? No. I close public question time at 5:38 p.m. We now move into public statement time. Public statements shall not involve any language considered offensive, contain any statements reflecting adversely on the integrity of any elected member, officer, or exceed 2 minutes. I would now like to invite Maureen Sullivan to present a public statement of lack of access of disabled and elderly individuals to board boats on Mandurah's waterways. Thank you, Maureen. Hi, Maureen. Thank you so much for being here
My name
tonight.
is Maureen Sullivan, and I'm 86 years of age, and I have lived in Mandurah 50 years next year, and I've seen lots of things develop, and it's been a beautiful country for me. What I'm here for tonight is that 4 years ago, I went with my son on his boat, and I've had a hell of a lot of trouble getting on it, and a worse trouble getting off it. So from that time on, I have tried to instill in council the need for the hoist, which is what the staff members have said is probably the only way to go with the hoist. But I know that you're probably thinking about the insurance, the safety and the vandalism. But that should not deter you from us oldies now. We can't go out with our beautiful families on the boat because there's no way we can get on it. So I believe that council, I've been with council staff over the 4 years and they've been very kind and helpful. And I believe that 25-26 is that you've allocated the budget for the hoist. Now it's now at the end of 25, and that's why I thought, well, I'd come and appeal to you guys. Please do something about it. All the waterways, and we can't do it. There's 10,213 boats licensed last year. Now, even if 100 were able to go on the boat, that's good. But, you know, it's just so disappointing. I've been here and seen lots of development, good ones and bad ones. But I think you guys have got a bit of IQ and common sense, and I hope that you will check up that budget's there and it won't be pruned off like it does other things.
Thank you so much, Maureen, for your time.
Okay.
Appreciate you. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas as well.
What was that?
I'm wishing you a very Merry Christmas
Oh,
as
yes,
well.
I meant to say that to you all. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
It's been great for Mandurah in 86 and 26.
Absolutely. We now move to requests for leave of absences. Are there any requests? Can I please have a
Yes.
mover and a seconder?
I do. Yes, please.
Yes, Councillor Cumberworth.
I would like a leave of absence for the month of July 2026, from the 1st to the 31st.
Thank you, Councillor
Thank you.
Cumberworth. Anyone else for a leave of absence? Yes, Councillor.
No, actually, I've got a form there that places got.
Yeah, and it's on the screen.
Yeah, it's on the screen as well.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So we currently have 3 leave of absent requests. Councillor Rogers from the 1st of February 2026 to the 31st of March 2026. Councillor Jackson from the 10th of January 2026 to the 25th of January 2026. Great to see you back in time for Australia Day, Councillor Jackson. And Councillor Cumberworth from the 1st of July 2026 to the 31st of July 2026. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Deputy Mayor Smith, Councillor Knight, sorry. Is there anybody wishing to speak against? No. Everyone in favour? No one's wishing? No? All right, we'll have that carried. We now move to petitions. Are there any petitions? No petitions. Presentations? There are also no presentations. Deputations? There are currently no deputations. Can I please call for a mover and a seconder to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 21st of November 2025? A mover, Councillor Schumacher, a seconder, Councillor Knight. I'll put that to the vote. Anyone against? I declare that vote carried. We now move to orders of the day, a very special part of our council meeting as we celebrate all that has happened in the month that has just passed. I would like to first start with Councillor Jackson regarding the Rockingham Police Rangers event.
Thank you. First question I had was, why are we doing the Rockingham Police Rangers? We're Mandurah. And I was told it's called the Rockingham Police Rangers for some reason, but they are Mandurah, and they're held at Coastal Lakes College. So I was comfortable enough with that. So went down there, and actually to my delight, I noticed some students I recognised as well there. This is a group I didn't even know existed. The police rangers meet every week, a bit like scouts or something like that really, or the cadets. They wear essentially police uniform. They do police drills. They learn skills. I didn't see any firearms on them, which was kind of good. But 150 hours of public service over the past year is what they've contributed. There was a squad of about 50, broken up into 4 separate units, if you like. The language, the rhetoric's all very policey, which is kind of cool, and you can see the excitement in the young people. They get to dress up like police, and I spoke to 1 or 2 of them. Their ambition is to go into the police force. This organisation really pushes the attributes that the WA police hold themselves to, which is service, loyalty, integrity. Really great to see that getting poured into our young people. A couple of special guests there. I was representing yourself, Mayor Kearns. The District Coordinator, Sharon Kent, was there. I was actually on the front row with a whole lot of cops. Sort of felt, well, this is kind of interesting. The State Coordinator, Matthew Sharp, who's Acting Superintendent, I think, at the moment, based in Perth. He gets all over the state doing these sorts of things, basically pouring into young people. It's a great initiative. Really keen to get another squad in Mandurah if we so desire. Immediately thought of the Billy Dower Centre and the heritage there. And I thought, oh, well, maybe there's some connection there. There's a small budget too that they could, we could maybe talk with the CEO about. Juvenile Justice Team were also there, which was a kind of a, perhaps maybe not an obvious connection, but definitely some synergy there. Because these people were certainly on the surface of it not the type of person that the Juvenile Justice Team would normally be working with, probably quite the opposite. And of course the Principal, Paul Cook of Coastal Lakes College, lovely guy, I haven't met him before, but very accommodating in hosting this organisation at Coastal Lakes College. Got to present a trophy on your behalf, which was really nice. It's probably enough from me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sounds like a great event. And now, Councillor Wilkins, you attended Carols in the Park.
I did, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the Carols in the Park event held on Saturday, which my family and I had the pleasure of attending. With a Christmas-obsessed wife and 6-year-old daughter, we attend a lot of these types of events at this time of the year, and we all agreed it was a memorable night. The on-stage talent this year were outstanding. They added so much heart to the evening, and the headliner, Conrad Sewell, was exceptional. He was engaging, generous with the crowd, and delivered a truly memorable performance that elevated the entire event. I want to sincerely thank our event staff for delivering yet another spectacular community event. The vibe was amazing, and it was special to see so many people coming together at Hall Park. It truly is an amazing space, perfectly suited for hosting community events, and I look forward to many more events at Hall Park in the future. I'd also like to acknowledge my fellow councillors who were in attendance. I didn't see too many around, but I was on a picnic blanket, so out in the crowd. Acknowledgement to Deputy Mayor Jess Smith for the wonderful acknowledgement to country and for spotting me walking through the crowd with my trolley and ugly Christmas shirt. And to Mayor Amber Kearns for announcing the parade winners and also finishing the evening on a real high, sending the crowd away with a joyful rendition along with Ali Hill of We Wish You a Merry Christmas. Thankfully, no one else is on stage at that, at that time of the night. Events like this highlight the importance of the City of Mandurah continuing to invest in community celebrations, especially at a time like Christmas. I know there's been differing views expressed about whether council should invest in events of this nature, but seeing families dressed in their Christmas gear, kids waving their battery-powered candles, and thousands of voices singing along together is a powerful reminder of the value of these events deliver, bringing people together and creating a genuine sense of belonging across our community. The Carols in the Park event is just one of the highlights among the many Christmas activities taking place throughout our city. These events not only support local businesses but also create a meaningful shared experience for families. While I may be a little biased, I genuinely believe Mandurah has earned its reputation as the Christmas capital of Western Australia. And I encourage my fellow councillors and the entire community to get out and enjoy the Christmas Lights Trail this year. It's more spectacular than ever before and a wonderful way to embrace the festive spirit right here in Mandurah.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins, and you're always welcome to join us in a finishing song next year. We now move on to Councillor Green. As you can understand, there's been lots of events, so we will be sharing a few of them. Councillor Green, you'll be speaking about John Tonkin Education Support graduation.
Yes, I will. Thank you, Mayor. Well, as a John Tonkin College, and I was at the Education Support Centre, I'm actually a board member, and on behalf of you, Mayor, I did attend and had the privilege of attending their Year 12 graduation ceremony on December the 12th, along with Councillor Daniel Wilkins, who took some amazing photos of that event, and congratulating 14 students who received their graduation certificates. The award ceremony was truly inspirational, as the students were absolutely delighted at having accomplished their academic requirements and were celebrating their moment of success. I had the pleasure of presenting the VET Award and the WLA Award, which is a Workplace Learning Awards, at that event. Mrs. Kristen Lucas, the principal, and her dedicated team exhibit professional leadership and positive spirit when managing the minds and behaviours of the students who constantly need support and guidance as they prepare for their entry into the workforce. In appreciation of council support, Mrs. Lucas has asked that I present you, Mayor, with a token and a gift that has been crafted by the students. And it is this particular cheese board, and it does say, and it has been etched in there, thank you for your support, John Tonkin College Education Support Centre. And I'd like you to accept this, and perhaps we can use it in the council room for some events, and think very kindly of what John Tonkin do for the people, for the students who do need their support.
Thank you.
To get them.
Thank
you very much.
Councillor Green. We now move to Deputy Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Over the last month, I've had the pleasure of attending 5 graduation and end-of-year award presentations across the Coastal Ward, alongside many councillors and the Mayor who have been equally as busy supporting schools in other wards. So each event was very unique and memorable. So some of my highlights were the St Damian's Year 1s creatively changing the lyrics to Sweet Caroline to It's Christmas Time, got the crowd going. The musical interludes at Frederick Irwin in Hall's Head and the Ocean Road Primary. The baby photos at the Year 6 students and also the teachers at South Hall's Head Primary, and the extremely funky graduation song performed at Falcon Primary School this morning. Abe Chowdhury outdid himself today. But a consistent theme across all schools was the strong sense of pride and joy and real camaraderie, particularly evident when students enthusiastically celebrated their peers' achievements with genuine encouragement and support. This level of good sportsmanship on display across all schools was outstanding, and I feel a real credit to each school community. I'd like to sincerely commend the teachers, the education assistants, the principals and all school staff and volunteers for another successful year. Because having grown up with parents who are teachers, I really understand, vividly remember the late nights, them writing reports, organising Christmas concerts, and the sheer exhaustion that comes at the end of term 4. So I can really appreciate the effort that goes in. So a big up to all of the staff. And also a congratulations to students, carers, parents on reaching another end of a successful school year. It's truly a collaborative achievement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor Smith, sorry, and to all the other elected members that have attended graduation award ceremonies throughout this last few weeks. I know that the schools really appreciate the effort. Now, I know that was a very long announcement by presiding members, but I also have some very exciting news tonight. Last week, Mandurah was named West Australia's most accessible community, and the city won all 3 categories we entered. So minor infrastructure projects, public open spaces and services and events, as well as the overall award for the accessible local government in the state at the 2025 MAC WA Awards. This recognition is about people. It reflects the care and compassion and commitment behind meaningful and ambitious projects delivered across our city, and the strong partnerships that make them possible, particularly with people with disability. Their carers, their families and our service providers, and a special mention to our Extraordinary Access and Inclusion Advisory Group. Your lived experience, honesty and advocacy continue to guide and strengthen everything that we do. The judges recognised projects such as Changing Places facility, accessibility upgrades across our public and open spaces and the city facilities, the opening of one of WA's first all-ability paddle launches in Riverside Gardens, inclusive activation and come and try opportunities, and increased accessibility across our services and events. Together, these initiatives reflect a shared belief that Mandurah should be a city where everyone belongs and everyone can fully participate. My heartfelt thanks to our community, to our people with disability who help us understand what works and where we can do better, along with council, city staff, service providers and partners. This recognition definitely belongs to all of you, and it reflects the pride we take in looking out for one another. I'm very proud to present the award to Casey Milahovic, whose leadership and commitment has helped make this possible. You're very welcome. Thank you. And to all our staff, we are very grateful for the work that you do. I know that we are all limping to the end, and I appreciate you. And now I also get the absolute privilege and honour to recognise Wally Waters as December's local legend. For anyone who knows Wally, you would know that his kindness, quiet determination and deep love for his community have left an extraordinary mark on Mandurah. Sadly, Wally is unable to be with us tonight. While we miss having him here in person, his presence and impact are very much felt in this room and across our community. I'm pleased to share that I'll be visiting Wally later this week to personally deliver his Local Legend Award on behalf of the City of Mandurah. At 91 years young, Wally has spent years doing something many consider small, collecting bottles and cans, but through this simple, consistent act of generosity, he has raised an incredible $36,000 for local sports and charities. That is not just a number, that is thousands of moments of support for our young people, our clubs and our volunteers. It is safer beaches, stronger teams and opportunities for children who dream big. Recently, Wally also underwent a hip replacement and made the tough decision to give up his driver's licence. And while those changes would stop most people in their tracks, what has stayed unchanged is Wally's heart, his passion for this community and his deep desire to keep giving. I know it saddens him that he can no longer continue the work he has carried out for so long. But tonight, I just want to say, Wally, your contribution doesn't stop because the collection has. The legacy you have built lives on in every surf lifesaver you have helped equip, every football program you have strengthened, and every young person who has felt supported because of you. You have shown us what community spirit truly looks like, not loud, not flashy, but steady, generous and full of heart. And I think Wally might be listening tonight, so I'm speaking directly to him as I say this. On behalf of the City of Mandurah, thank you, Wally. Thank you for your service, your dedication, and the example you set for all of us. You remind us that one person with a simple idea and a whole lot of heart can make a lasting difference. And I just want to, can we all just give Wally a big round of applause? And if you're watching, Wally, when I come visit you, you'll be receiving this award on behalf of all of us. So thank you so much for everything that you have done for our community. Now, we've done that. I would love to move to the declarations of interest. Elected members and officers are now asked to declare any real or perceived interest they may have in respect of the reports listed for consideration for tonight's meeting. Should an elected member or officer declare an interest, I would remind them of the need to leave the chamber immediately prior to the discussion. CEO, have you received any declarations of interest?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I have. These all relate to the confidential report 23.1 and they are all impartiality interests. The first is Councillor Ahmed Zalani declaring an impartiality interest as he knows both of the parties named in the confidential report by being an elected member of council and both of the parties through friendship. Councillor Jacob Cumberworth, a impartiality interest as a councillor as he has a professional relationship with both parties. Councillor Peter Jackson, an impartiality interest as he knows one of the parties named in the confidential report by being an elected member. Councillor Shannon Wright, a impartiality interest as a fellow councillor who is subject to the report. A impartiality interest for Councillor Ryan Burns as both complainant and respondent are known to him through his role as an elected member and he was broadly supportive of the complainant's candidacy. In addition, he knows the complainant through friendship. Councillor Owen Mulder, impartiality interest as he knows both parties named in the report as being an elected member of council. Councillor Dave Shoemaker, he is declaring impartiality interest as he knows one of the parties as a fellow elected member and also knows the complainant. Councillor Jenny Green, a impartiality interest as a councillor as being a professional relationship. Deputy Mayor Jess Smith, a impartiality interest as she knows one of the parties named in the confidential report by being an elected member of council. Mayor Kearns, a impartiality interest as she knows one of the parties named in the confidential report by being an elected member of council. Councillor Caroline Knight, an impartiality interest as she knows one of the parties named in the confidential report by being an elected member. And Councillor Daniel Wilkins, an impartiality interest as he is a respondent in this matter.
Can I just check that there are no other declarations of interest? Councillor Rogers online.
Yeah, I'll need to declare an impartiality interest and in that I know one of the parties in the matter by way of being an elected member.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Can I have that recorded? Thank you. We now move to questions from elected members, questions of which due notice has been given. Firstly, I would start with questions given on notice from myself. Can I please have an update on the state government's Operation Heat Shield and any other strategies the city is putting in place to ensure residents, visitors and local businesses can continue to enjoy our city centre safely, please? I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. The Operation Heat Shield, a West Australian police initiative funded by the state government, is to increase police presence, patrols and proactive policing. For the summer period, the operation delivers additional police hours with a focus on high visibility patrols in areas such as shopping centres, entertainment precincts and foreshore locations, targeting antisocial behaviour, repeat offenders and response times. Visible policing and a coordinated place-based safety response in busy public spaces is important. In addition to this, the Mandurah City Centre is a protected entertainment precinct, referred to as a PEP, where the WA Police have special public safety laws that apply to reduce violence, antisocial behaviour and disorder. This is referred to as Night Safe and brings additional resources to the city centre, with a total 7 staff who are situated in the city centre between 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. People engaging in serious violent disorder or antisocial behaviour can be subject to exclusion orders, preventing them from returning for a specified period. Additionally, the city has taken a number of steps to address levels of antisocial behaviour in the city centre in the last 4 months. Measures include an increased frequency of ranger patrols, CCTV, and the demolition of a storage shed in George Robinson Gardens to disrupt a core location for antisocial behaviour. The city has also introduced a hard stand in George Robinson Gardens to improve event facilities, music through Smart Street and additional signage to try and increase footfall and passive surveillance. The city's business grant program has supported local operators to upgrade their own facades and undertake other projects. The city also maintains a balanced and proactive response to rough sleeping, working with outreach and support services to engage early, connect people to appropriate pathways, and minimise impacts on public amenity and safety. City officers have held 2 workshops with local businesses and landowners in early December at local business owners in the Smart Street Mall. Feedback indicated that conditions have improved in the last 3 months, but there was more to do. They were willing and keen to work with the city to improve the city centre further, and city officers are reviewing the feedback and will develop actions early in 2026.
Thank you, CEO. And my second question for tonight, can I please have an update on the removal of the fence on the western foreshore? I'll refer that to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, the removal of the fence has commenced and it's expected that that will be completed by the end of this week. Thank you.
Thank you. My last question is also regarding the Western Foreshore. Now that the state government's Western Foreshore land excision consultation process has closed, can officers please provide an overview of the next steps through Parliament? I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. The state government's 30-day public consultation period has closed and the Department of Planning, Lands and Heritage will carry out their processes to present to the Minister of Lands for consideration. If the Minister decides to proceed, they will table the proposal along with an explanatory briefing in both Houses of Parliament. Either Houses of Parliament then have 14 sitting days to move a notice of disallowance. If no disallowance motion is passed, the proposal can proceed.
Thank you, CEO. I now have a question from Deputy Mayor Smith.
Thank you, through the Mayor. Please can the relevant officer advise when the Dawesville Community Centre outdoor play area and landscaping will be completed and functional? Thank you.
I'll refer that to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, the Dawesville Community Centre outdoor play space and completion of the landscaping works is expected to commence in mid-January, take around 12 weeks to complete, and should be open to the community by May 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Director of Built and Natural Environment. All following questions are without notice. Are there any elected members with questions without notice? Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you, through the Chair. To the relevant officer, I've noted that in 2024-2025, the employee costs were 4.1 million above the financial year of 2024. Can an officer explain as to, which is approximately 7.5%, as to why there was such an increase?
Thank you, Councillor Schumacher. I will refer that to the CEO.
We just might take that question on notice and give a detailed explanation.
Thank you so much, CEO. Are there any other questions from elected members? Councillor Wilkins.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, can the CEO or relevant officer please provide an update on the removal of the abandoned vessel on the shoreline at Nans? Understandably, after months of inaction from the agencies involved, is causing much frustration amongst the community.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. I'll refer that to the Director of... No, I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. I requested an update yesterday to the Director General of Department of Transport, and I received a response today. The response was that the action is being taken to remove the vessel. A tender has been awarded to a contractor who has plans to remove the vessel and will set a date once they gain access to the beach area through the city of Mandurah. I also received confirmation, which they had received confirmation from the Marine Environmental Emergency Response Team, that there are no hydrocarbons leaking from the vessel. I then responded and requested whether there was any water sampling undertaken, and I'm still waiting a response.
Thank you, CEO. Any further questions from elected members? Yes, Councillor Mulder.
Just in relation to the comments made around Operation Heat Shield, can the CEO or an officer confirm that despite that we still remain well below the target number of policing for our district?
Thank you, Councillor Mulder. I'll refer that to the CEO.
We will take that on notice and request a response from our Mandurah officer in charge, yes, titled, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Mulder. Any other questions from elected members without notice? Okay, I'll close public elected member question time. We now move to business left over from previous meetings, which there is none. Recommendations from committees. The City held an Audit and Risk and Improvement Committee on the 9th of December 2025, and one report is presented for consideration by Council. The recommendation is on the screen, and Council should note there was one minor administrative error with the Audit and Risk and Improvement Committee recommendation, which has now been rectified. Councillors, please note that attachments 18.32, 18.33, 18.34 and 18.35 are all confidential. Should any elected member wish to discuss these items, we will need to go behind closed doors. Are there any elected members wishing to discuss the confidential items to this report? We will stay with open doors then. So can you please see the officer's recommendation on the screen? Can I ask for a mover and a seconder? Councillor Wright and a seconder. Councillor Deputy Mayor Smith. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Wright?
Through the Mayor. just taking a look at the annual financial statements, one thing that interests me was the provisions for annual leave and long service leave seem to be quite reasonable compared to last year. They've come down a little bit. Revenue was 3.6 million above expectations, with expenses down. Expenses also up 567,000, predominantly through the insurance claims and utilities, which went up 6%. Cash holding, it was good to see that money come down and reflect in the statements now from the, I think, 24-25 carryover capital projects, or 23-24. But yeah, budget surplus at the end of the day. So, cheers.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Would a seconder like to speak?
Nothing further, thank you.
Nothing further. Are there any questions from elected members? Is there anyone wishing to speak against the item? Is anybody, I'll put it to the vote, is anybody against the officer's recommendation? If there is nobody against the officer's recommendation, then I declare that carried. We now move to item number 19, monthly financial report. Prior to this report being considered by Council, I would like to invite the Manager of Financial Services to the podium to provide a presentation. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you, through the Mayor. Presenting the financial report for November 2025. As usual, we'll start with the graphs for the operating revenue and expenditure, with operating income sitting above budget, operating expenditure sitting slightly below. So we are tracking well on the operating front. Looking at the graphs for capital, you can see that non-operating income is sitting quite low. We do expect that to rise quite rapidly as we start completing capital projects. We can only claim that revenue as we complete the projects. You will also note for the capital expenditure that our commitment expenditure has recently risen. Let me just go back to that slide. So we do expect actuals to rise in the next few months in line with this as well. A quick look at the interest trends. So we have saved through our loan offset facility $71,264 so far year to date, and term deposit interest is still attracting rates of around 4.1%. For rates receivable, November last year we were sitting at 64.4% collected. This year we are 68.8% collected, so tracking well against last year. And also, as I mentioned last month as well, we did have a lot of interim, so that is inflating our figure for this year as well, so that is a good result. For the next slide, properties with a debt greater than 10,000, we have just about rejoined the line from where we were last year. And properties 3 to 10,000, we are slowly decreasing to join where we were last year as well. So those interims will be affecting the 3 to 10,000 graph. In the month of November, we did have quite a number of budget variations that I'll take as read in the report. So that does go over 2 slides. This one. For the next slide, for November, we had a number of tenders that I'll take as read as well, but I'd also like to note that the City's procurement team observed the tender evaluation process and is satisfied that the probity and procedural aspects relating to the evaluation were compliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared, for the presentation, and a very Merry Christmas. I will now, everybody, I'll wait for it to go on the screen. Okay. The item is before you on the screen. Do I have a mover and a seconder for the report? Yes, mover, Councillor Cumberworth. Seconder, Councillor Wilkins. Councillor Cumberworth, would you like to speak to the motion?
Happy to move this robust financial report in all its detail. Thank you.
No worries. Councillor Wilkins.
Very hard to follow on from Councillor Cumberworth, but I have nothing more to add. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. Is anyone wishing to ask a question? Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you, through the chair to the relevant officer. The tender for coastal engineering consultant, 2.205 million for 2 years. What exactly does the coastal engineer consultant, what is that person responsible for?
Thank you, Councillor Schumacher. I'll refer that question to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, that consultancy service contract will provide a range of designs and specifications for some of our major work coming out of the char maps, together with providing general engineering consultancy advice with regard to coastal infrastructure.
Also, just to note that the contract amount is for 4 years as well.
Thank you, Councillor Schumacher.
Subsequent question, thank you, through the chair. Is this a works that could be carried out in-house, or is it too advanced for that?
Thank you, through the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
These services are expert services that we presently don't have the capability to deliver in-house, so effectively they need to be outsourced at the present time. If there was to be consideration of some additional in-house resourcing, that may reduce, I guess, the overall expenditure for that outsourcing work, but it would still be expected there would be certainly some expenditure against that this contract for that expert consultancy advice.
Thank you, Director. Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you, Chair. Subsequent question. Are we looking at, or will we looking at having our own coastal engineer?
Through the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the draft long-term financial plan review and the draft annual budget for next financial year, city officers will be presenting a proposal for additional expert services in that space. Yes.
Thank you, Director. Councillor Schumacher, do you have any further questions? No, you're fine. Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Chair. My question pertains to the Officer Recommendation 3.20. I note that the report indicates our CCTV storage is at capacity and the upgrade is needed to meet the 31-day retention requirement, along with foreseeable additions in 2026. What isn't clear is how much of this relates to CCTV protecting city assets versus CCTV in public spaces. As these involve different policy considerations, I'm seeking brief clarification so Council can make an informed decision.
Thank you so much, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. In relation to where we place CCTV, it is to protect our public assets, and that will include assets such as the foreshore, where assets don't have to be a building as such, but it is still protecting playgrounds, pathways, and so forth. This is only for the additional storage that is required currently now. It will allow it will have some capacity for future CCTV upgrades or an expansion. However, the CCTV that is procured is situated in areas or in places that are City of Mandurah assets.
Thank you, CEO. Do you have a subsequent question, Councillor Burns?
I do, thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
So, in effect, I'm reading that that's current strategy and policies, so it's just to enable that and secure that, and obviously appreciating that with increased technologies, we require increased capacity. If there is a variation from this current strategy and policy, will that be a decision that would come before Council?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. In relation to the program that is allocated, we will present to Council a change in that program as part of the long-term financial plan discussions. However, at the moment, and as we go through the long-term financial plan deliberations, we will present to Council that the areas of the proposed areas and locations for 2026, 2027 year and so forth. So we have that information available for elected members as part of the long-term financial plan workshops.
Thank you, CEO. Any further questions, Councillor Burns? Any further questions? Councillor Wilkins.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you. Great to see the remaining parts of the memorial well being donated to the Mandurah Environment and Heritage Group. Wondering if there is an update on where it will possibly be located, and does the handing over now mean that it can no longer be installed on public land?
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. I'll refer that to the Director of Place and Community.
Thank you for the question through the Mayor. The organisation has given us an indication of how they might follow up to place the Peel Memorial well. I guess at the moment, I probably would be overstepping if I were to share that, but it is not the intention that it's on City of Mandurah or public land. It would be on private land, but we're expecting that private land would be able to be accessed by the public. So it would not be, for example, in a private residential property.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Wilkins? No. Councillor Burns?
Thank you, Chair, and I thank the elected member for his question regarding the well. A minor point, but important to me, is I note that the plaque will remain property of the City of Mandurah. Will that plaque be made available to the eventual owners, if this is successful, for the purpose of replication, if they choose to reconstruct that?
Thank you, Councillor Burns.
In the closest to the original form that they can.
I'll refer that question to the Director of Place and Community.
Thank you. And through the Mayor, yes, that plaque will be made available for them to replicate. It has already, and they have taken photographs of that plaque.
Thank you, Director. Any further questions? Yes, Councillor Mulder.
Yeah, through the Mayor, just regarding the Falcon Men's Shed, I note the statement that construction is now expected to commence in 26-27. I'm just seeking assurance that there is a high degree of confidence that we will indeed undertake that work in 26-27.
Thank you so much, Councillor Mulder. I'll refer that question to the Director of Place and Community.
Thank you. This project, through the Mayor, has been on the go for several years, and the City has been working in good faith with the Falcon Men's Shed in progressing it. We will be putting our best foot forward for the project to be completed in the next financial year, but it does rely on external funding, and we'll be seeking that from Lottery West. So we have had early discussions with them, and in principle they've let us know that it is an eligible project, but until it's a fully funded project, I'd offer some caution on that.
Thank you, Director. Any further questions, Councillor Mulder? No. Any further questions, elected members? No. Is there anyone wishing to speak against the item? If there is no one wishing to speak against the item, I will put this to the vote. Is anyone wishing to vote against the item? I will declare that carried. Now we move to report 2, and the item is before you on the screen. There is an amendment to the officer's recommendation. Yeah. Can I ask the CEO to explain the changes in that amendment? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. In page 8, there was a duplicate for Councillor Caroline Knight as the Mayor in her profile, that Mandurah Environment Advisory Group was in 2 places, and we needed to remove the Mandurah Environmental Advisory Group from the external organisations. It's already included in the internal working group. And then for Councillor Burns, we needed to include the 3 other appointments as through an external organisation, and that's Rivers Regional Council, Southern Beaches Coastal Hazard Risk Management and Adaptation Plan Steering Committee, and the Walga Peel Country Zone Deputy. And we have provided just the change to those 2 pages.
Thank you so much, CEO. Do I have a mover and a seconder for the recommendation on the screen? Yes, a mover, Councillor Schumacher, a seconder, Councillor Wright. Would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you. But thank you.
You're very welcome, Councillor Schumacher. As the seconder, Councillor Wright, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone wishing to ask a question regarding the officer's recommendation? Councillor Wilkins.
Through you, Mayor. Can I just find out why the costs associated with elected members attending events aren't captured in the annual reports, and if those costs are publicly available online?
Thank you so much, Councillor Wilkins. I'll refer that question to the CEO.
Just for clarity, Councillor Wilkins, are you talking about the professional development, or are you talking about events?
I'm talking about events where the city purchases tickets on behalf of the elected members.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins.
It isn't a statutory obligation to include that in the annual report. However, we can take that question and ask the department if there's any interest in including that into future regulations.
Any further questions, Councillor Wilkins? Is there anybody? Yes, Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Chair. To the CEO, potentially, I observed the elected member council meeting attendance, and in the past I've had conversations regarding, even though it may not be statutory requirement, why we might not differentiate attendance in person or online, particularly with the change of the legislation from last year or the year before. And would the CEO consider that for the next annual report?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. So we do present the council meeting attendance in accordance with our legislation, the Local Government Act and its regs. We're not obligated to include how people have attended council meetings, and so the way that it's presented is the way that it's recommended to be presented by the department. We again can put that forward as a question to the department whether they would consider that going into any future legislation.
Thank you, CEO. Councillor Burns, have you got any further questions?
That was a very informative response. Is there anything in the legislation that prevents us from going above the minimum requirement, which I'm assuming is what we're seeing in this report, and including attendance breakdown online and in person?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the CEO.
We would have to get confirmation from the department on the expectations of whether there can be additional disclosures.
Thank you, CEO. Councillor Burns.
And going forward, if that was not the city administration's wishes to do so, would that then become a decision of council?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. Through the CEO.
Once we receive advice, then we can workshop it with elected members to ensure that it's a group decision, yes.
Thank you, CEO. Councillor Wright.
I didn't attend a planning and consultation committee meeting in my last year, but it's saying that I have 3. Sorry. Thanks.
Okay, Councillor Wright. Can I refer that to the CEO?
We will check that. We may need to
review the annual report.
Well, we might need to adjourn the meeting to just do a check.
Okay.
For 5 minutes.
Yeah. No worries. We will turn off live streaming. Yeah, can we please turn off live streaming?
Serious questions?
With live streaming recommenced, I reopen the meeting at 6:55 p.m. as we continue with Report 2, the annual report for 2024-2025, as seen on the screen. Are there any other questions for the report? I will put that to the vote. All elected members not in favour? Any elected members not in favour? With all elected members in favour, I declare that carried. We now move to Report 3, the local law amendment. I would like to move to defer this item pending a further workshop for elected members to be scheduled in February 2026. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wilkins? Given the additional questions received on the local law, I would recommend that this item be deferred to enable a further workshop with elected members. Once this has occurred, the local law will be presented to Council. I would like to thank the City officers for their work they've undertaken to date and elected members for their engagement in this process, which has included 3 local law workshops. Councillor Wilkins, would you like to speak as a seconder?
No, thank you, Mayor, but thanks for deferring it, and yeah, we can give it the attention it deserves.
Absolutely. Is there anyone wishing to ask a question? Is there anyone wishing to speak against deferring? I will put that to a vote. Yes, sorry, Councillor Burns.
The proposed deferral I'm clearly generally supportive of. Just wanted some assurance from the CEO that we are not putting the city at risk either statutorily or additional costs other than council doing its due diligence in making sure that the report is to the level that our community should expect.
Thank you so much, Councillor Burns, through the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. I can confirm we're still meeting our statutory obligations.
Any other questions? I now put that to a vote. Anybody voting against the officer's recommendation? I declare that carried. We now move to Report 4, the excision and disposal of to lease to EMACC Pty Ltd, 7 James Service Place, Mandurah. The officer's recommendation is on the screen. Do I have a mover and a seconder for this report? Councillor Burns and Councillor Green. Councillor Burns, would you like to speak to this item?
I would, Chair, but would you enable me to ask some questions prior to me speaking to the motion?
No, you'd have to speak and then we can ask the questions after the seconder has had the opportunity to speak.
That's fine. It won't change. I've prepared some statements and I anticipate that my questions will be favourable.
Yeah.
So I've looked at this proposal through the same lens I apply whenever we're dealing with public land and private enterprise. I'm cautious about subsidies, selective advantages and arrangements that shift risks onto ratepayers. In this case, what's before us is a commercial lease supported by an independent valuation with a lessee funding all construction and associated works. It's not a handout, it's a market-based arrangement. The proposal activates a small section of boardwalk which has effectively been, in my opinion, a dead space for decades. It's not an area the public meaningfully uses today, and importantly, the ground level space remains publicly accessible. In return, the city gains improved amenity, activation of Mandurah Square, and a stronger long-term revenue stream. The financial risks sit with the lessee. They're investing their own capital and taking responsibility for the estuary wall protection and any works required to protect their structures. That matters because it means long-term environmental and infrastructure risks are not being shifted onto ratepayers. Some may question whether this gives one operator an advantage. It's worth noting the city has previously supported alfresco expansions and activation opportunities for multiple businesses, particularly along the eastern foreshore. This proposal is consistent with that approach. Even so, fairness matters, and any business in comparable circumstances should be able to seek similar consideration in future. The lease term is long and that deserves scrutiny, but the long-term tenure is what enables private investment in waterfront precincts like this. Provided the city retains appropriate protections, I'm satisfied this strikes a reasonable balance between commercial certainty and public interest. On balance, this is a sensible, or appears to be a sensible, activation of underutilised public land, not a subsidy, and I'm comfortable supporting the motion, subject to some of the questions I'll raise.
Thank you so much, Councillor Burns. Councillor Green, would you like to speak to that as a seconder?
Thank you, Mayor. And whilst acknowledging Councillor Burns' considerations, I've had a look at this particular motion, and I felt that the Planning Department have done a lot of their due diligence with respect to the needs of the construction. There's the low hazard risks and that, and also to maintain integrity of the structure that's going to be constructed. I had the 25 years and 25 years option. I think that in today's council kind of environment and with companies looking at guarantees for the investment, 25 years plus 25 years seems fairly reasonable given the extent of this particular construction with the lease. I feel that it will provide not only employment, not only to the builders and the construction, but also some minor employment for the hospitality, and tourism, which we support. It also will contribute to the cafe-style ambience that will provide patrons and visitors the opportunity to relax and appreciate the activity in the Mandurah Square and the amazing waterways. I think the project sounds good. I think, as I mentioned before, the Planning Department have done a fairly solid job in looking at what the pros and cons are, but then I still will defer to Councillor Burns if he has any further concerns. But thank you very much, and I really was interested in the report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Green. We now ask for questions from elected members. Are there any elected members wishing to ask questions? Councillor Cumberworth.
Within the area to be leased, there's currently a statue. Through the chair, will the statue be moved, and will the city be paying for the costs of moving the statue?
Thank you, Councillor Cumberworth. I'll refer that to the Executive Manager of Governance Services.
The statue will be moved in accordance with the deaccession of art process, and there will be consultation involved. There won't be any cost to the city. The proponents will meet all costs of this application.
Thank you to the Executive Manager. Any further questions? Councillor Burns?
Thank you, Chair. I accept some of these have been well addressed, but I think it's worth accentuating for the public record. My questions, firstly, given the potential 50-year lease term, can officers confirm the city retains adequate step-in rights if the structure becomes unsafe, non-compliant or poorly maintained to protect public safety and the city's assets?
Thank you so much, Councillor Burns. I will refer that question to the Executive Manager of Governance Services.
In terms of step-in rights through the chair, the city maintains rights under its current lease and will in future leases and to step in the event of failure. We also take performance security, so we have both directors' guarantees and we will take bank guarantees in the future to make sure that not only we have the right, but we have the mechanism to enforce it.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Burns?
Yes, please, Chair. officers outline the make good arrangements at the end of the lease term, including whether the lessee is responsible for removing of structures or site remediation if required.
Thank you so much, Councillor Burns. I will refer that to the Executive Manager of Governance Services.
Through the chair, the lessee will have make good obligations in their lease. They currently do, and that will be repeated in the new terms. This will enable the city to elect to direct the demolition of the structure and make good the land, or we can also choose to take possession of the asset if it's still in sound and manageable condition at the end of the term.
Thank you so much. Councillor Burns, a subsequent
Thank you.
question.
And again, accepting there's some commentary in the report, but can officers confirm again that future coastal hazard adaptation, estuary wall protection or related works required as a result of the lessee structures will be fully funded and managed by the lessee, not the city?
Thank you so much, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the Executive Manager of Governance Services.
Through the chair, yes, this will be a condition of the lease, and the lessee has already agreed to fund those upgrades.
Thank you so much. Any further questions?
One
Councillor
final
Burns?
one, and
No
thank you
worries.
for everyone's patience. During the public notice process, if submissions raise substantial new issues or materially change the risk or public access considerations, can officers clarify whether those matters will be brought back to council rather than finalised administratively?
Thank you so much, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the Executive Manager of Governance Services.
Thank you through the chair. Noting that the recommendation delegates authority to the CEO to consider submissions, we would recommend that we brief council if there's anything raised that's not previously been considered or addressed in the report. At a briefing, council can determine to request a further report on the matter.
Thank you so much, Councillor Burns. No further questions. Any other questions from elected members? Anybody wishing to speak against the motion? If no one's wishing to speak against and there aren't any further questions, I'll put that to a vote. Anyone wishing to vote against? I declare that carried. We now move to Report 5, disposal of the encroachment licence for portion of drainage lot Atrium Hotel Mandurah. The officer's recommendation is currently on the screen. Do I have a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation, including the amendments? There's no amendments? No. No. Yeah, just the officer's recommendation. Yeah, Councillor Schumacher, Councillor Wright. Councillor Schumacher, would you like to speak to the officer's recommendation?
Thank you, through Chair. No, happy to move the recommendation, the officer's amended recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wright, would you like to speak as the seconder?
Through the chair, just like the fact that there's a bit of money coming in there for the city, so thank you.
No, no worries. Is there anybody wishing to ask any questions regarding the officer's recommendation or the report? Can I just confirm that Councillor Schumacher has moved the officer's recommendation and Councillor Wright is the seconder? With nobody wishing to ask any questions and nobody wishing to speak against the officer's recommendation, I will put that to a vote. Is anybody wishing to vote against the officer's recommendation? I declare that carried. Okay, we now move to motions of which notice has been given. There are none. Notices of motion for consideration for the following council meeting. I've not received any notices of motion. Late and urgent business items, there are also none. And we now move to the confidential item. Can I please Councillor Peter Rogers declared that confidentiality will be maintained during the closed doors part of the meeting to discuss the confidential reports. As there is an item of confidential business. Oh, yes?
I'm happy to declare that, yeah.
Thank you. As there is an item of confidential business, can I ask for a mover and a seconder that the meeting proceed behind closed doors in accordance with section 5.232 of the Local Government Act 1995? Councillor Knight and Deputy Mayor Smith as the seconder. I'll put that motion to a vote. Anyone against? I declare that carried. Can we please close the doors? On behalf of Council, I would like to thank members of the public, press, officers and staff for attending and ask that they now leave the chamber, which they have done. Thank you very much. Minute Officer, can you please confirm live streaming has been suspended I declare that live streaming has recommenced. Can I ask for a mover and a seconder that council endorses the recommendation made behind closed doors? Is there a mover? Councillor Shoemaker. A seconder? Councillor Knight. Or anyone wishing to vote against? I declare that carried. And that, I would just like to thank everybody who has joined us online. This now concludes the meeting. Thank you to elected members and to our community for your participation and support in assisting the meeting is run smoothly. Wishing everybody a safe and Merry Christmas, and I declare all business concluded and the close of meeting at 7:18 p.m. and request that live streaming be terminated, please.